Okay. Hang on.
This is the technical difficulties that kept us off the air for 10 years.
Now batting for Pedro Bourbon, Manny Mota. Okay. Boom. Done. Thanks for having us. Bye.
So this is happening. This is the Shakeytown Radio.
It is. It is. I just spilled soda on my desk in what can only be described as an auspicious moment.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah. Welcome back. Boy, just seems like it was just a week ago.
was it was. And for those listening, this is very impromptu. No
No,
real,
this was planned, dude. We planned this 10 years in the making, as far as they know.
yeah. As far as conversation about what we were going to be doing. So right off the bat, I want to apologize for like half the guests. I disavow like most of the conversations and maybe even 2/3. I'm at the point now where I'm old enough to let people off the hook. I'm not going to carry that contempt with me. They're just irrelevant people to me now, but like I don't want to see or talk to most of them again. Um, there's a couple of them that are still cool, but but one of them actually like infiltrated my life and caused a lot of problems. And it's not wholly unrelated that the podcast stopped at that point because of being distracted by bullshit. But there was like a year and a half after the last episode before I moved down to LA. And Gene's still there.
Yeah.
And I went back a couple times to finish my studies and got my master's, and I've gone back once to visit friends. Like very impromptu. Like I didn't even get to see Gene.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I came to Phoenix and I started Phoenix Zine Fest with some people, and as I was still involved with zines for like another 4 or 5 years, and um, despite not being completely crazy about how it ended up with folks in that scene in Los Angeles, but again, 10 years ago, like who cares?
It was like last week.
Yeah. And so then there was a pandemic. Like we almost did a 10-year anniversary of the birth of the podcast,
Right.
but pandemic and just didn't seem. I don't know. In retrospect, like what else were we doing? We should have done it then, but
I don't know. Again, that seems longer ago than the last episode. Ironically. Well,
yeah.
that was also like I feel like that was like there's like a 2-year gap. I know the time passed, but it didn't seem like the time passed. And then I'm just now starting to get to a place where that was like 4 years ago. No, that was like 6 years ago. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like a lot has happened. But like we have guests who have passed away, like who are on the show who have passed away. We have guests who have gotten canceled.
Yeah, that's a true statement.
We've gotten the whole like just the whole podcast business model has changed. I wrote an article about it that was on online for a little bit as far as our glory days. I've had 2 kids since then. You have 2 kids who are like teenagers now.
Fletcher's 12, but yeah, he's almost a teenager.
Yeah.
Matilda's definitely a teenager. Matilda's been a teenager for the last 15 years. So
yeah, I have one of those. She's 6, but she's at
40.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, water has passed under several bridges. I what I feel like the most important thing we need to say is that we've come out of semi podcast, semi retirement, because there really is just a burning need for more cis het white males to do podcasts where we talk at each other
I
and
mean, it's not going to be
near
us.
each other.
It's going to be two other schmucks.
No, I understand, but um yeah, that's, I mean, honestly, that's been a consideration in my head. I know we talked about it a little bit, back when, and it's just like you say, I mean, this is never a business. This was never a going concern. This was a labor of love, and the focus on a lot of it was, um, how do you do the things artistically that you care about in the world when nobody gives a shit. When no one's gonna reach out and lift you up, except in extremely rare instances. um, and usually there are ulterior motives of, when people do get shoved into the spotlight, somebody's making money off of it, and this was never about making money, and it was about, DIY ethos, and um, you know talking to people who seemed simpatico,
Yeah.
or had interesting things to say. So I think that mission accomplished,
Yeah.
overall. um but yeah, like you say, if podcasting feels simultaneously strange. Look, I'll full disclosure. I never listen to our shows because I hate listening to myself talk. But I appreciated being there for the shows and having the conversations. But podcast, I used to listen to a lot of podcasts, and now I listen to strikingly few.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't, but it definitely feels like a different world that is either the morass of, uh, you kind of got to have a podcast if you're doing stuff. And then there are like enormous podcasts,
Right.
your well-known asshole podcasts. And I'm not even going to say dude's name, but that sort of thing. And comedy bang bang and things like that stuff like that are, you know big deal things, at least big deals in certain demographics.
Yeah. And I've seen a lot of YouTube stuff. We never really went for any of the YouTube stuff. I think there's a YouTube
Yes.
channel. Like I was gonna put this up on mine because that has subscribers,
Yeah,
but
sure.
I think there's technically a Shakeytown channel that had like 2 promos we filmed on a flip camera.
Right.
Used to be a thing.
On the proverbial potato.
Yeah. And like so so like I had been doing stuff, small press stuff in Los Angeles, moved away, helped launch Phoenix Zine Fest, did that for several years. Pandemic hits. And like all this time I'm a horror fan, and like there's a horror community that starts popping up around Phoenix, and I decide I want to document the movies I'm making. No, document the movies I'm watching. And
Making
that
them in your heads. In your heads.
so like that becomes like a movie review YouTube show, and then I start doing interviews again with like creators, but it's just like specifically horror creators. So that becomes a YouTube show. And so like I've been doing that for the last couple years. And I'm writing and helping edit literary sites at the same time. In some of this, I eventually like there's just too much between there's just too much going on. And so like eventually it just pared down to that. And so like I've had a glimpse of like the how the YouTube thing works, and it's very similar to how podcasting used
Yeah.
um and it went the same arc where like there was just a couple of creators who got sponsors and figured out the algorithm and the compensation system. And so like there's like they're in this monster category of their own, and then everybody else
Yeah.
they're a smaller pie.
I think the phrase you're looking for is sucking hind tit.
Okay. There you go.
Um,
even that I burnt out on kind of, I see views diminishing and my access to guests, which is the same thing that happened. We had like our celebrity era
Mhm.
best, and then, good or bad, it was just talking to local creators, like you said, on the kind of level DIY level. Um, and at this point, like even some of the DIY filmmakers, they're just too busy to like sit down and do
Yeah.
a 30-minute chat with me about horror on, and I'm just like, I just kind of rather go make my own stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, YouTube, I think YouTube has kind of replaced podcasting in my brain space. And I watch a lot of YouTube for various things, for gaming and cooking, and it really does feel like the gamification of YouTube. You know, I'm sure the algorithm has serves me up weird things because my taste has always been eclectic, but my son's all like, Dad, you should do streaming stuff, and I'm like, no, because I think I can see enough of how the sausage is made. um it's the actually the I started, or I put together a channel, and the initial concept was, um I was just going to do dad videos, but the dad videos would be strictly all of the YouTube. There's a thing at strip clubs called stripper shit, and it's things that strippers do to get lap dances. They rake their nails across your back, and it's psychologically designed to like, oh, hey, that chick really likes me, I'm gonna go spend $150 on lap dances. And I can see the stripper shit in the YouTube channels. So my channel was basically going to be like dad videos where I'm going to show you how to change a tire, and then go out to my car and like start doing, hey, make sure you smash that like button and then hit that subscribe button. And if you like this video, it really helps me out. And it's just, it's like 10 seconds of a video, 10 seconds of an actual video, and 4 minutes of algorithm bullshit.
Yeah.
Because it is, once you kind of see the man behind the curtain, you know,
Yes.
it feels, even the people who I know are doing fairly well, at least, in terms of subscribers and video views, they're all still doing it. They're still doing it. And it makes me feel weird.
Yeah. I'm going to point to one YouTube channel
Mm-hmm.
that I think did something right, but then the other people who do it wrong, it really irritates me. So there's a local Phoenix, Arizona, like scary things kind of, it's called Scaredy Cast. So I mean, they talk ostensibly about scary things, like a lot,
Sure.
they're horror, and they do stuff at horror conventions, but they're talking also about like ghosty kind of stuff, right?
Sure. Paranormal.
Yeah. So I give a pass on their thumbnails. They're
Oh God,
they're
thumbnails.
they're allowed to do this and the like they're
Sure.
scared.
They're scared.
Scared
Sure.
cast. They're allowed to do that. And if they didn't have good content behind it, then no one would watch their show.
Right.
They wouldn't have been going as long as they have. So I want to make it like explicitly clear. I'm not talking about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. They're doing good work.
But there are so many thumbnails online of the like pulling the hair and the and the and like the Wojak face. Like I can't do that shit. I don't want to do that shit for my own stuff. I can't do that. Like only if you are being haunted by a ghost like the Scaredy Cast people, you are allowed to make a animated open mouth face. Everybody else is just pissing me off. And I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'll make that the thumbnail for this because it's funny, but I can't hear you. I can't hear you. You're muted. Ask to unmute. Ask to unmute.
Okay, how's that?
All right, there we go.
It must have it literally must have been sitting on the mute button, and I hit it by accident when I moved my when I did my animated
No worries.
thumbnail face.
Like,
No, I totally forgot about the thumbnails. Oh man, there is a channel that I actually really like. I really do like. It's a gaming channel, and the creator, all of the thumbnails are like the two different the pulling the hair thumbnail or the oh no thumbnail
yeah,
for everything, regardless of the content
yeah,
ultimately. And it's like I'm beginning to wonder if they do it on purpose.
yeah.
No, I
That's
mean not on purpose to game the algorithm, but
uh,
just on purpose. Like, well, I got these two, these two cards that I'm going to use, and they're just doing it on purpose, not for an algorithm purpose.
right, right, right. Um, yeah, it's just creating anything nowadays is hard. I moved back to Phoenix, or I moved back to Arizona. I'm not in Phoenix. I'm like,
Phoenix adjacent.
yeah, like I'm like at least an hour away, which is nice. It's a good distance between me
Yeah,
and the city that I came up in, because I was immediately reminded of like why I left and why I dislike people here and the scene here. Um, which isn't to say, I haven't found my own little corners of good people and stuff. But yeah, like, the the same thing with like, venues coming up and then getting shut down. Like I feel like stuff that we used to talk about a lot. And then like I talk to people all the time who are still in LA, and I've kind of romanticized it because it's been, I've been gone for almost 9 years. And
it's been
people,
a while.
except for visits, and people are like, yeah, it's not the same. And I'm like, okay, it's hard for me to, when I've been back, it's seemed the same, um
Well, some things are similar or slightly better, but I feel like, well, plus the other thing too is it's like, honestly, 10 years is a long time, and a lot of the people that like, let's just use UCB for example. A lot of the people that I came up with when I was doing UCB are they either have careers, like they're doing stuff and being actors, and they're not in that, hey, we need to find a black box theater to do our skits show, or
yeah, yeah,
that kind of stuff. So it is, I mean, time has moved on from it. I don't know how much harder it is, because it's always been difficult. I mean, I'm speaking specifically from my background as stand up and sketch and improv. you know it was always, especially stand up, was a rough and stupid go. Like it was stupid hard always, and driving all over town to get maybe 2 minutes on stage. um it was always a pain in the ass. So I don't know, I can't imagine it unless they like punch you in the stomach when you go to, like, instead of shaking your hand when you come on stage, they just fall on cold cock you.
yeah.
Like, that would be the only way I could imagine that it would be worse in that specific set of circumstances. Like, oh, and here you go, here, I'm just gonna smack you as hard as I can across the face. But it does feel, I won't say that it feels like the opportunities are less, but I'm not seeing them the way I used to see them when I had to see them, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
sure, sure. I think also you and I both got busy with our careers, our non-show business, non-entertainment, non-artistic careers.
Yeah, yeah.
I pivoted into something entirely different because I was in television, and I just, the situation, which I don't know. I had a situation. I've vaguely referred to it in interviews and other outlets. I have nothing really to say about it except, anything else I would have to say about it would be in my art.
Mm-hmm.
I have nothing to say about it. Just that I was at a position where I had to leave LA because it was not a healthy place for me mentally, and financially was impossible. And so I come to Arizona, and I'm not going to work in television here. because the only television here is local news. And I already knew that that was too tough for me to enter from friends who had tried or had done it. So I'm in tech sales. And that's what's paid the bills or not, depending on the year, for
Yeah.
like several years. You had always had a career in tech, and but I think it became harder for you to even like escape that routine, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean it's definitely basically I had a job that I thought I would retire at, and it's only through the excruciating stupidity of senior management that I no longer have that job.
Yeah.
Um, I worked for a large healthcare organization. It was I'd worked there 24 years. It was a job that, in a world where um, a lot of IT, and especially now with AI and things like this coming out, yeah, and tech can be problematic, um, with crypto bros and tech bros and all the nonsense going on. I worked at a company that at the bottom line, we assisted healthcare professionals helping people be healthy, stay healthy, get healthy, you know, through all the, different, stuff that happens to people as they, have their lives. And so I always felt it was an unalloyed good. And I was perfectly happy doing the work that I was doing, and knowing that, I could look back and say, yeah, my company, is a net positive. Um, and when we got a executive who came from Walmart and decided that he needs to do that low price, low quality thing, but to my company, and me and a bunch of other people who've been there for years and were um, in their 40s and 50s got laid off, and they're going to save all that money. And I'm sure that the quality of the products that they give to people are going to continue to be better for it. So yeah, I mean, it's like it was a full-time job, and it was tough to have kids and a job and do all the kids things. And it's but now ironically I am at loose ends. Now I have all the time in the world, like Burgess Meredith at the end of that Twilight Zone episode. So I'm going to break my glasses and, I guess, never find a magnifying glass or something that you need. Because wouldn't that be great if they like just did? See, this is what AI would be good for: is you could just tack on the end of that Twilight Zone episode where he's like, "Oh, I forgot I have this other pair of glasses." Cool. It's scratched, but I can read.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So life happens, and again, this was a labor of love, and you were in places, as you've alluded to, that made it not fun for you, at least, especially some of the things that some of the directions that we were going with the show. Um, so yeah, I wouldn't say it seemed like a good stopping point, because it just was a stopping
Yeah.
point. I miss it. I miss it. I have mixed feelings. I miss, well, I miss you, bud. I miss talking to you, because it carved out some time for our friendship, regardless of who else was on the show or what else we were doing. It gave me, like, it's time to go over to Brodie's. It's time for Brodie to come here. It's time to whatever. That's the part I miss the most, regardless of whether or not we were, you know, do anything that people gave a crap about.
Mm.
Um, it we gave a crap about it, and when you brought people on, I talked to folks about things that I I found fascinating. You
Yeah.
know, it's there's always something interesting to talk to when people are doing things that are interesting, for them. So
So what do you feel happens next? Do you is did we let Shakeytown lie? Do we bring it back? Do we
Well,
I think
I mean,
slightly different.
I don't know. I mean, I think we need to noodle on it. I wouldn't mind. I mean, goodness knows, I'm sure when we post this, there's going to be a groundswell of demand. I cannot imagine that we will not hear from the legions of fan of this show.
I'm
Um,
excited to see who's just like, oh wait, I still subscribe to this thing. There's a new one. What? This is assuming you know how to log in there, or we know how to log in there and upload it. But
yeah, that might be problematic. Um, yeah, well, you know what? The interesting thing too is the other part of the climate. Well, let me answer your question. Yeah, I think it's fine. I think we should do more. If only to, like I said, um, I don't really. It's never been about who cares about this because we care about this.
yeah,
And it's taken I've taken a winding path to um, not feeling guilty about that, you know? Um, yeah. So aside from the fact, so that leads me to the other part of this is one of the things that happened this week was I went into Twitter.
yes.
I went on there and I hardly ever go there anymore. And, having come up through Twitter in the LA comedy scene, I don't know, I've got like 1,300 followers still on the Twitter, and I've got like 85 followers on Blue Sky. Which is like it's the total perspective vortex. I That's probably about what I deserve is 85 followers. And some people are people I've known for a long time who are on Blue Sky. Um, and but man, I tell you, it is a different feeling to be posting for a room full of nobody. And so I'm not saying that I need that endorphin boost, but I'm curious to see the differences. Well, I mean, I know the differences between X and Blue Sky, and the difference is, again, you know, I'm Bill Murray's lounge singer playing to four people, and but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But promotion wise, like I can't see, with the shift in how things have gone, I can't see Blue Sky being an effective way to promote anything.
Yeah.
Um, you know, anything I wanted to do, getting a job, like, you know, getting a job and connecting with people. I mean, there are a lot of people on there, again, like I've known for forever, but um, it feels like the social media landscape is fragmented, and to me is the biggest that to me is the biggest change, I think, in the last 10 years. And I think part of it has to do with getting older, but I feel like I don't see the way forward to claw open the door anymore. Whereas before, maybe I was just naive and deluded and thinking, yeah, it's going to do what it's going to do. And people, people it'll find an audience, kind of thing. I just don't even know how that works anymore, or if it works, aside from what we've already talked about you know, like and subscribe, hit the smash that like button. Um, so part of it, I think, is curiosity on my part.
Yeah.
Is let's see what happens here. It can't fall flatter on its face than other endeavors,
That's true. That's true.
right? There's only so much you know dirt it can eat. So
It's fair. So my free version of Zoom is about to run out.
what?
And I'm gonna get back to my day job too. So what
Yep.
I'll do is this will play on YouTube channel.
Yep.
We figure out how to make the Shakeytown channel thing again. But yeah, log
I'll,
into.
I'll I'll look into the logins and stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Everyone needs to hear this important thing that I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah,
We'll
yeah.
figure it out.
Um, but I appreciate talking to you.
Yeah, man.
at length and seeing you, because it's
Yeah,
you and
it's
far
hard to.
between. And
Yeah,
it's just doing this, trying to do this on a weekly basis would be just a good excuse to chat with you. So
no, precisely. And if anyone is actually watching this and has made it this far, thank you very much for your time and attention over the course of the active times and the inactive times. That's all I want to say.
and to be clear, we're fine, and our kids are fine, our
No,
families,
everything's great. Everything's great.
lives are fine.
Yeah, sure.
We're fine.
Yeah, everything's great. I'm except I don't have a job, so hire me for do
Except
something.
that part. And I didn't have one for the last year, and so if I can do it, you can do
Yeah, I know.
it.
I know. All right.
All right. What was our sign off?
I don't know, man. Do we have a sign off? Did we do something? I see. That's the thing. I don't even know.
I promise I'll be back in sooner than 10 years.
That's right. We'll be back.
Yes.
That's my Arnold impression right now.
Love it.
All right.
I'll talk to
Thank you. Love you, brother.
You too.
You know, I got to figure out how to get out of this. 4 different things. Okay, I'm leaving here. Bye.